The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 25 from the NLT. Hi neighbor, I would like to welcome you to another unplugged episode of Anchors of Encouragement. My name is Tim Maudlin, husband, adoptive parent, disciple of Christ, and ambassador of encouragement. I'm coming to you today from my outdoor studio, where I want to continue a series that I began in episode 167 to lay the foundation for my words this coming year. I've been giving you breadcrumbs, if you will, to a word jumble. In each of these episodes, I've taken my main word and I've turned it into an acronym. In episode 167, we considered the letter A, which stood for affirmations. Episode 168, the letter T, stood for 2 and 3. And then in episode 169, we looked at the letter R, which stands for regulate. Today I want to consider the letter P. It stands for principles. I began this episode with a quote from the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, and verse 25. The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. That was from the NLT. Let me read this same verse from the LSB translation. The soul that blesses will be enriched, and he who waters will himself be watered. I'm able to come to you today and record this episode because of something that happened just a little while ago. As I mentioned in episode 169, I recorded that during a winter storm warning. That storm is over, but it left anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of snow on the ground. For the past 2 days, I've been trying to dig out. I live on a hill, and my driveway is over 300 feet long. To make matters more challenging, in addition to the 8 to 12 inches of snow that we got, there was freezing precipitation on top of it. That just made the snow even heavier. My back and my arms are worn out. But something happened a little while ago that helped finish the job that I didn't anticipate. When we look at this idea of principles, and specifically here from Proverbs 11:25, when a principle is put into play, it's guaranteed to produce the results that were intended. As I was at the bottom of my driveway and just about to clear it all the way to the road, the snow plows had left a bigger pile than I had dug out throughout the driveway. That pile of snow was even thicker than what I had already shoveled. It was heavier because of the snow plows going back and forth. I had about 2 feet to go to break through to the road. Then I noticed in the distance a bobcat coming toward my house. Well, it stopped off at a neighbor's a couple of driveways down. I was thinking, boy, it'd be nice if that would come on down to my house. Well, a few minutes later, I saw it heading toward my house. Now, I hadn't called anybody. I really didn't know anyone to call to have them come and help. But as I was digging around, trying to get to the road, this person showed up with his bobcat and started clearing the very bottom, the hardest part of my driveway to get clear. He stopped as soon as he got the bottom cleared, and I realized it was my neighbor and my friend. I didn't know he had a bobcat, but he came down and he helped clear out the bottom of my driveway. And then he went all the way to the top, to the flat part. I hadn't even tried to start clearing off the top, but in a few minutes he had that done for me as well. I really appreciate that he was willing to do that for me. My arms appreciate it, and my back appreciates it. When my friend did this for me, he was actually putting a principle in play. Whether he realized it or not, my friend was putting the principle of Proverbs 11:25 into play. He refreshed me, and I have no doubt that he will be refreshed sometime in the future. And that's a cool thing about principles. When you put one into play, it is guaranteed to produce the results intended. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Because the generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Or as the LSB said, the soul that blesses will be enriched, and he who waters will himself be watered. I want to consider this principle as it applies to adoptive parents. If you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, you understand that there are some unique challenges to the adoption journey. Some of these challenges can be quite severe. Adoptive parents need to be refreshed. They need to be enriched. There can be some significant challenges and struggles to this journey. Let's go to the daily doable, because I want to give some practical tips that can be applied in putting this principle into play. Today I want to speak primarily to those of you who know adoptive parents. At times they're struggling. And as I mentioned, they need people to refresh them and people to enrich them. I want to encourage you as friends of adoptive parents to look for opportunities and look for ways that you can refresh and enrich them. Now, what might that look like? Maybe you offer to watch the kids. Maybe you offer to take a meal to them. Maybe you buy a gift certificate to a restaurant. Look for ways that you can help them out in this journey. If you don't know of ways that you can do this for them, one thing you can do is ask them. And to those of you who are adoptive parents, if someone asks you how they can enrich you and how they can refresh you, let them know. The reason I say that is because we do need these individuals in our lives. And they wouldn't make the offer if they didn't want to. And so give them the opportunity to do something good for you. And really what you're allowing to happen is you're allowing them to put this principle into play. Because when they do something good for you, when they refresh you, and when they enrich you, it's coming back to them. They might not even be aware of this principle, but you are. And if someone asks you how they can refresh you, how they can enrich you and encourage you, let them, because you're putting the principle into play. The refreshment, the enrichment that you're receiving will come back to them too. The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. The soul that blesses will be enriched, and he who waters will himself be watered. That's all for this episode. I want to thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back in our next episode to continue our series and give you another letter in the acronym. But before I go, I would like to extend an invitation for you to become a member of our Facebook community. There you will find people who want to refresh you, who want to enrich you. Come to our group. Please see the show notes for the link. We would love to have you there. Until next time, this is Tim, encouraging you to do what you can now.